There's also this sort of effect where time becomes distorted, right? Where maybe hours feel like minutes and time just goes flying by, and before you know it, you look at the clock and go, "Oh, it's it's way later than I thought. We should probably get going home." Right? Um and the most important thing, and this takes me back to the previous sort of block of statements that I've been rambling about today. If you want to get your audience in a state of flow, their motivation has to be intrinsic, right? They have to participate because they want to participate, not because they feel like they are getting some reward or they feel like somebody is forcing them to. They have to want to be there. So, if you're looking for some more concrete examples of what flow looks like, I'm going to give you three examples from my own personal life. Um, the first one is whenever a new season of Cobra Kai comes out. Right now, unfortunately, the show is over, so this will not be happening in the future. But my wife and I, whenever a new season of Cobra Kai would come out, we would sit down, we would watch it, and of course, we'd be like, next episode, next episode, next episode. And then we'd be like, oh my gosh, we just watched, 3/4 of the season in a single day, right? So binge watching a show, um, especially one that, again, you're actively paying attention to, not something you just toss on in the background and then you're fiddling on your phone or doing homework or talking to people or whatever, right? But when you binge watch a show that is actively engaging you, you get into the sense of flow. The second example is way back when I was in college. The well, I don't want to say the first of the new Star Wars Battlefronts came out. So it was for the Xbox One, right? So I'm trying to remember, was this like 15, 16, something like that? And at that time, my wife was working in home health and she did overnights sometimes. And so there was one night, it was a weekend night where I had nothing going on the next day. My wife was working an overnight. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pop in Star Wars Battlefront and just play for a while. Right. And I started at like, it's probably like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Right. I'm like, I'll play till I get tired. And I'm, playing, I'm going through all these rounds, I'm doing the different modes, I'm having a blast. Next thing I know, I hear birds chirping outside. And I kind of was like, what? And I peeked out the blinds. The blinds were closed. The curtains were closed. And sure enough, the sun was starting to come up and I looked over and it was 6 in the morning. And I was like, oh, okay. I got a little carried away there. Right. Um, but that's another example of flow. In that case, I was so engaged with that product, with that experience, that nothing else mattered and nothing was going to get me to stop. And hours became, they felt like minutes. um the last one's kind of a more funny example that I still get made fun of, for to this day. Back in my senior year of high school, I went on a trip to Disney World. Okay. And we went to Animal Kingdom and I was, having a blast. And we went to the Kilimanjaro Safari attraction. Okay. So if you're familiar with that, that is the ride where you get on the little tour buses and they, take you around and you see a lot of different African animals that are in the wild, quote unquote, right? Where in reality, Disney has a bunch of ways to keep them in their own enclosures and to create optimal sight lines. That's a whole other podcast episode in and of itself, so we won't even get into that. But 18-year-old Austin was in the queue line and I was so caught up in my Disney World experience and I was, checking out the queue line and was like, oh, this is cool, right? And you saw all these signs of like, watch for poachers and, oh, this is a, safari park. And this is an official safari park, designated by the country of whatever whatever country that they chose, right? And they have like all the different animal names in Swahili, right? It was awesome. But 18-year-old Austin was so caught up in the moment and so caught up and immersed in the experience, I thought it was real. um, I was like, wow, there's actually a safari nature preserve here in Central Florida. How cool is that? Right? And then of course, when I got on the bus and the story actually started and I saw the animatronic elephants and stuff and I was like, oh, okay, this is not real, right? But I was so caught up in my sense of flow with that experience that it could have been real to me.